Hello and welcome back to the Conscious Contact podcast. My name is Janae Peavy. I am your host, and I have a lot of thoughts swirling today. I'm going to try to distill all of this down, but in general, I wanted to talk about my shortcomings being my strengths, and we've got this whole episode to go into it, so I'm not going to preface it any more than that. I was listening to a podcast with Huberman and David Goggins. And he said something that kind of unlocked something in my brain that made me realize that what he said is part of one of my biggest problems with human interaction and why it's actually a positive thing. So let me say the quote. It's very short. I feel sorry for no one. That's what he said. And to give his talk context, he's speaking on doing hard things and his perspective. And if you don't know who he is, just do a quick Google search and you will kind of understand this a little bit better. But he said that, and I was in the car driving, and I was like, ooh, people are going to take that really wrong. And at the same time, I thought, I feel the same way. I feel sorry for no one because of, and this is what he talks about too, he said because of his experience, his extremely difficult childhood, his health issues when he was in his 20s, morbid obesity, ADHD, all of those things that he has had to overcome. He says he feels sorry for no one because he knows what it is like to be at the very bottom and to crawl your way out. And he said he knows that it is hard, but it is not impossible. And that really resonated with me. I have empathy for people, I have sympathy for people, but I feel sorry for no one. And I'm sure that that can make me come off a bit harsh. I'm sure that it can maybe feel to people like some kind of judgment or something. And it's not like I would ever articulate this to another human being, like tell them I don't feel sorry for you. Um, like that's a bit harsh even for me. But it's not this judgment in my head of like, oh, they're just lazy, or oh, that's nothing if they'd only been through what I've been through, like that's real struggle or what. It's nothing like that, because that's not the type of thoughts that I have. It's more so I can understand where they are coming from. I can hear their feelings. I can know that their feelings are valid, but I also see, because of my lived experience most of the time, I can see where they could crawl their way out. And that's not to say I know what they should do. I just understand that there are a plethora of tools at our disposal as adults in this modern age of technology to be able to work on any problem. And you might not overcome that problem, but you have the tools to work on that problem. And it makes me sound pretty brash, and I'm completely aware of that, and the internet could, decimate me for it. And that's okay, because again, I'm not saying that I'm unfeeling for people that are struggling. I mean, God knows I struggle with things on a daily basis. I mean, that's how I grow, is to be in struggle and then work on overcoming. It's just with my personal lived experience, my childhood, my early adulthood, getting sober, all of those things, and knowing what being at the end looks like for me. Having a bottom where I could see no hope, where I didn't necessarily want to die, but if my life was going to continue on the way that it was, I didn't want to do that either. And having that moment of that inflection point where I realize that either I make this change or this will be my life forever. Because nobody was going to change it for me. It wasn't just going to go away. Those bad feelings, the alcoholism, my trauma, none of that was just going to go away. There wasn't enough time that was just going to heal it. I had to do hard work. I had to show up, and I had to choose that over and over. I had to choose the hard thing every day. And that's a lot of what the rest of that podcast episode was about, is him saying that he gets up and it is a struggle every day. He chooses the hard option every day, not because he's choosing it for the sake of hard or to be some martyr or to feel better than, but because he knows he can. He has done hard things and survived and knows that he can overcome. And I thought that was so powerful. And, you know, people can take that however they want to take it. But for me, it spoke to my issues with social interactions, the patterns of thought that my brain has because of my childhood and my alcoholism. It just really hit me in the gut. And I think that it's something that I can definitely work on because I know that that colors some of my interactions with people and I can be softer. I can always be softer. 2024 is the year of me being softer. But sometimes doing the hard thing is the right choice. And I would argue for me, again, I have no idea what you should do. I am not a licensed therapist. I will give you no advice other than here is what I did in that particular scenario, or here is what I think. You can do with that whatever you want. You can completely disagree with it and never listen to me again, or you can be like, wow, I never thought about it that way, and maybe open up your horizons. But I feel like for myself, choosing the hard thing is the right decision 90% of the time. I can do hard things. I have proven that to myself by, still being alive at this point in my life, just in general. But choosing the hard thing looks different every day. Sometimes it's I need to do a strength workout for the longevity of my life, my muscle mass, my bone density, all of that. Kind of harkening back to the last episode about the new way to look at New Year's resolutions and starting with my why. I can forget the why sometimes when I'm really tired or it's the second day of my cycle, which is just the epitome of a struggle, which is where I am at today. But I did still do my strength training workout because I know that I can do hard things. And if I really needed to take a break, I would have. But I know for me, myself, that when I choose to do the hard thing, I feel a million times better about it. If I choose to do the thing that I said that I was going to do, either to someone else or to myself, that adds to my life. It really does. And especially when it connects back to a core moral or value that I have for myself, I know that doing it is worth the effort. And honestly, that's all it really takes for me to start it. I just have to start because I know I'm going to finish the thing once I start it. Other than laundry. Laundry is the hard one. Sometimes I start and don't finish. I need to transfer a load right after I'm done recording this. But most of, when I start a workout, I don't just stop in the middle of it, unless I tweak my back or something. I just have to begin. I just have to start. And it was the same way with my recovery. It was the same way with going to therapy. Once I started, that was it. And it's not like I didn't have periods where that progress would slow down. Just because you start, you're not guaranteed progress. But I am guaranteed momentum. And that is the biggest piece for me is momentum. And with the whole, I don't feel sorry for anyone, I apply that to myself too. I am in recovery and I cannot have pity parties. I still do, but I have to get out of them very quickly because a victim mindset is a nasty place to be for me. It is somewhere that I cannot go. And I hate to see that for other people because I know how hard that is to get out of. And I know how painful that can be. And to be a victim in your own mind, even, is just, it will kill any forward progress that I have going on. So anytime that I am in that pity party, I have to get out of it, whether it is sharing it with someone else, calling somebody, recognizing that this too shall pass, figuring out what I can do to mitigate the situation. I have to do something actionable or I will be stuck there and it will not be pretty and I will not be fun to be around. And it's crazy how God works. I was thinking about this and recording this episode, and I had a friend who was my first sponsee. She called me and I realized I had a voicemail from her, and I called her back and we're just talking about, like how and I just love to talk recovery with her for many reasons, but because we were on that same level. And she just had like some really awesome experiences with the benefits of being a recovered woman, being able to be vulnerable, but also stand in your truth. And I had a similar experience recently. And it is that thing like, I think people that may not have struggled with alcoholism or addiction or anything like that might not realize how big of a victory it is for someone like me to not lie in a situation. So, like, even a little white lie. And it to be able to see your forward progress in that moment, being able to share and commiserate with another human being, being on that same level is just so extremely powerful. The power of community and shared ideas was just really like fizzly when I was talking to her. I don't know how to put it other than that. It's electric, and it's something where I being separated from people and COVID and the lockdowns and all of that, the detriment that it had for me, and I know a whole lot of other people, because you're so separate from society and community and that closeness that you feel no matter what your community is. It's a huge deal. And, I'm an introvert, but I still need it. And I forget that sometimes. I can go a long time with just being with me, but that connection with another human is priceless, absolutely priceless. And especially if you're in recovery, talking to someone else who is in the same place as you, not only does it allow you to grow or, bounce ideas off of each other or just be excited to be sober, like what a fucking miracle that is. It it is just something that I don't take for granted and definitely need to seek out more of that. But yeah, I think that this this beginning of the year, this first week, which happy first week of January, where are you with your resolutions? Are you able to enjoy the journey to your goal? Have you been able to soften in that regard? I definitely have. Big check in the win box for me. I still, I held fast to the things that I wanted to do. Have not watched TV in bed, even though I was very tempted. Reading a book instead. Uh, Leaving the sink without dishes in it at night, except for last night. And I count that as a win because the Lord knows I'm not going to be perfect at that. And just knowing that I did it the rest of the week was enough for me. And again, with the whole beginning of my cycle yesterday, not great. So energy levels were low, but my motivation and determination is still high. Did strength training work? I feel so much better, not only because I'm doing the things I know I'm supposed to do, but because I have actionable steps that I'm taking. And I know as I'm ticking those boxes, as each day progresses, no matter if I felt like I did it to the best of my ability or not, I'm still one day further into my life in general. I'm still alive today, like that's the goal that I really want to keep in mind. Like, yes, my long-term goals are still there, written on paper, working towards them, but the real goal for me is to enjoy my life, every moment that I've got of it, because this is it. This is the only life that I have. And if I'm not present in every single moment, I'm wasting it. And intentionally or unintentionally, things like scrolling social media or watching things that I don't enjoy or reading a book that I don't care about. Life is just too short for that, hanging out with people that don't serve me, responding to people in a way that is not genuine to who I am, not being vulnerable when I know that it adds to my life and my intimacy with the people around me. I just ain't nobody got time for that, I really want to be able to show up more genuinely as a well-rounded human being, like the same person in all aspects of my life, and that's what I'm working really hard on this year too. And I've had a couple people ask me, blood work results came back. I've got actionable things to work on. Everything is all good. Nothing crazy, nothing scary. We're doing the thing. We're doing the thing. We got the prescriptions. We got the supplements. We got the game plan. Feeling very hopeful. And I hope that you're feeling hopeful too. Whatever you've got going on, whatever the first week of January has brought to you, I hope that you are feeling hopeful as well. I'm ticking things off of that pit list, the stuff that's not on your daily to-do list, but it's the things that kind of pile up month after month that you should really get to, but you never do, like dust on the baseboards, just the tiny little things that are not a huge deal, but they need to get done, but then they just move on to the next month. I'm taking those motherfuckers off because once again, life is too short. Two, I have a whole lot more time when I am not on social media as much. I have a whole lot more time when I realize I'm not going to watch TV in bed for 3 hours before I go to sleep. I have more motivation and more energy during the day because I'm doing the things for my body than it actually needs instead of, which don't get me wrong, the holidays and all of its baked sugary goodies were phenomenal, but I definitely felt it in my energy levels. Glad that we are done with that. To everything a season. We are moving on and happy to be in a place where I feel good. I mean, I think that's kind of the goal for everybody is to feel good and feel happy and at peace. And I never thought that that was available for me. I mean, I went years of my life not being happy. I went years of my life not having hope. And to know that that's available for me anytime now, wow. Wow, what a gift. And I'm so lucky that I have the support group that I have, the partner that I have, the family that I have, the friends that I have, the recovery group that I have. I stop and I think about it and I have conversations with people frequently. I don't know what I did to get so damn lucky. I really am lucky. And there's a lot of hard work that went into that luck. But at the same time, I really do have to reflect and realize that, I'm alive today by the grace of God and the spirit of the universe, whatever you want to call him. And that has nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything for it or to deserve it other than be. And isn't that great that that's all that's required? And I get to change my life whenever I want. I get to change my mindset whenever I want, which changes my life. That's the biggest key that I have learned so far in life and recovery and in anything is I can choose to change my mindset even if the situation doesn't change. If I change the way that I view it or think about it, inherently that will change the situation. Even if nothing external changes, I will feel differently and I can live my life differently. And, that is the proper use of power, and my will is to do stuff like that instead of try to control everything and then it still not turn out the way I want it to. And then I get even more angry, frustrated, stressed, what have you. Just going with the flow. That is what I'm trying to lean into. I'm not great at that. So it will be a continual process of starting over, but I can recognize where my growth is. And I want that for all of you too. Like if you're in the middle of a period of growth, and it feels like you're never going to get to the goal, once again, my previous episode, please know that every step that you're taking on the way to your goal is still your life. And do not put things on hold until you get or do X, Y, or Z. I fell into that pit for a lot of my life and it made me very unhappy. And now that I am actively working to not do that and to enjoy myself on the way to that goal, give myself some grace, but also hold myself accountable. That balance is not just black and white. It has really changed the trajectory of the things that I do. And it's even changed the type of goals that I actually have, which is really interesting. Inherently, it changed what I thought was important in life. And it helped me to realize what was important in life, which is mostly living it, and letting things happen as it may. But re-looking at what my morals, values, and standards are on a regular basis really clears out a lot of the clutter and takes a lot of the comparison syndrome away and helps me get rid of things that aren't serving me. So I appreciate you listening to me ramble. And I hope something that I said spurred you to think about something. And if not, thanks for joining anyway. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next episode.